sipping and roasting. Yeah, that's what we do. Set 'em up, knock 'em down, make that cherry glow. Whiskey and cigars, the gentleman's cologne.
Cheers, y'all.
That sounds like a party, ladies and gentlemen, just about to begin.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. Our program's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And if you are hearing us for the first time, maybe on one of our radio affiliates, welcome to the show. We promise it will be nothing like what you're probably expecting. And we don't necessarily mean that in a good way. So welcome to the program. It's show number 438, which means we've been doing this for a very long time, and it means we are rapidly approaching, or at least getting to that midway point, would you say?
We're about halfway to 500, I think.
Okay, good to know. We are glad to have you on the program. We want to take a quick moment to recognize and thank last week's special guest, Mr. George Bevel from Highwire Distilling. Cool dude.
That was a great show. Very super fun.
Very cool whiskey. Really, really good stuff all the way around. So if you missed last week's show or any of the previous shows, by the way, you can catch them all on YouTube or at any of your favorite podcast distributors. So we have a lot to talk about today, but the title of today's show, and this will be important, How to Make Your Cheap Beer Taste Better. It's a really simple. It's a really simple thing, and I'm excited to get to it to see. Now, I don't drink a lot of cheap beer.
The only thing I can think of is serve it super duper cold and drink it in 13 seconds.
that does help. That does help. You're right.
Hold your nose while you're doing it.
Yeah. To make your cheap beer taste better, you have to poke the side of the can.
These days, I try to go for quality, not quantity. So I drink better beers and just maybe not quite so many of them. But back in the day when, Keystone Light was an actual thing that I might purchase at some point because I was flat
broke. Actual beer choice.
Yeah, I was flat broke. I wish I had known this tip for how to make cheap beer taste better. So we'll get to that on the program today. We'll also be tasting some not so cheap beers from Three's Brewing Company in Brooklyn, New York. We'll be tasting their Pacific Northwest lager called False Memory. So that sounds interesting. A Brooklyn brewery doing a Pacific Northwest lager. Which
that's going to the other side of the...
that'll
and it's
be
called
fun.
Three's Brewing
the other
Company?
side of the playground,
Three's Brewing Company out of Brooklyn.
Like
yes.
Three's Company, but
like
just
Three's Brewing Company. Yeah, Three's Brewing Company. Yeah.
Janet or Chrissy, yeah.
Leave it to Terry to be the one to pick up on the...
It was Cindy Snow for me. That was the one. It was Cindy. That was my favorite of them all.
There is a video, by the way, and John Ritter, who was the main star of Three's Company. He was an absolutely brilliant actor, and a lot of people don't realize how talented he was because his role in Three's Company, which is what he's best known for, was so silly.
Oh yeah,
but there is a video on YouTube. Look it up. It's Robin Williams and John Ritter improving off of each other.
Oh, wow.
And it's wonderful and hysterically funny. And so there's your viewing tip for the day.
Wow.
Find that on YouTube. It is totally worth your time. And we all know Robin Williams obviously is, was that quick and could do great improv. But Ritter holds his own with Robin Williams, which that's saying something in and of itself. So
really.
Check it out. Let me know what you think. From Austin, Texas, one of our favorite breweries, Jester King Brewery, has released a hazy IPA called Citrus Froot, F-R-O-O-T, like Groot, but Fruit, Citrus Fruit Direct. And what's interesting about this beer, we'll talk more about it when we get to it, is that a lot of beers that are going for the citrus taste do so by using citra hops and some of the other hops that impart that kind of thing. But this one includes actual squeezed orange juice in the recipe.
Really?
So that'll be an interesting thing to try.
Wow.
And then finally, from Akron, Ohio, and the Hoppin Frog Brewery Company.
We've had some Hoppin Frog on before.
Well, this should be interesting because it combines one of your favorite things, Ian, with something that I think is maybe one of your least favorite things. So we'll see what it does. It is a barley wine with Thai chili peppers.
Whoa.
Oh.
This is either
I
going to
don't
be
know.
out.
I'm
It's either
very
going to be
conflicted about
Yeah,
that.
exactly. It's either going to be outstanding or a ruination
Have
of a
you
good
tried
barley
it yet
wine.
yourself?
I have not.
Okay,
no.
so you're okay.
I have not. So I'll be
you're in with us on that.
I'll be. We'll all be journeying there for the first time together, and I'm real curious about it. So that we'll look forward to that. We're also going to be tasting some rum today from Guatemala, the Zacapa Edicion Negra, and this is it in its fancy container.
It's got
right
the,
here.
yeah, it's got the fancy tube.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I love the fancy tube. It always makes me think I'm buying something that is
A
probably
little bit next class.
yeah,
better.
probably a
Yeah.
step
A
up.
little
You know,
better.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see when we get to this, but I have high hopes
Well,
for a rum.
Zacapa rum is so
Yeah,
good
from
anyway.
Zacapa. Exactly. So, a lot to look forward to. We'll bring you the most popular segment on this program, something we like to call Drinking News. It comes up in the second hour of the show, and our Drinking News teaser headline for today is How Not to Pay for Sex. That was extra dramatic, I think, just from the headline. We'll also get to our drunken fact probably within the next few minutes, and we have a teaser for the drunken fact as well. The drunken fact it started out as a drinking fact. We kind of ran out of those, but we love playing that little fanfare that we do next to the fact. So we changed it to the drunken fact, and now it's just stuff that if you can remember it, it's really good to tell at drunken parties because it makes you sound like you're really knowledgeable.
Like you know stuff.
Yeah, like I know stuff. That's what I do. I drink at parties and I know stuff.
Right.
Our drunken fact teaser headline for today: You might as well just give up now. We'll tell you about some cigars to watch for today. Louisiana has, and I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth, so mark this day on the calendar. Louisiana has actually passed a bill that's good for cigar smokers.
What?
Yeah, I know. Seems crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Go
but
Louisiana.
if you're going to give it to, if any state's going to do it, if Louisiana's going to go the other way of those other states.
Yeah,
You go, Louisiana.
It's
We're
almost
right behind
right.
you.
It's almost as crazy as a headline that says California eases restrictions on cigar smoking.
What?
When I read that one, we might as well give up. The show is done. We've done our thing. We've made our
Good night.
mark.
We love you all.
Thank you. We love you all. Good night. And of course, we'll talk about the simple ingredient that makes cheap beer taste better. And sometimes we wish we had a simple ingredient that made the beverage of mystery taste better, because that's something that is, I'll just go ahead and admit,
Occasionally
often
questionable?
occasionally decent, most of the time questionable. But the thing we do with the beverage of mystery is that one of us will bring something in, and it's often like a seltzer or a canned cocktail, or maybe a beer or a spirit, or maybe Malort if Ian brings it. But the only person who knows what it is...
Hey, I brought barrel-aged Malort.
I know you
once.
did. Yeah. And it was still really, really bad. Sorry to all of those in Chicago. I know you're like raging against the speaker right now. But sorry, your obsession is not a good one. And I'm not talking about the White Sox.
Or hot dogs.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Chicago knows how to mess up a spirit and a hot dog. That's for sure. And I love the city of Chicago. I do. I've wanted to live there for a long time. So maybe it's really just the Malort that's holding me back at this point from moving to the Windy City.
That's it. That's the only thing.
That's it. If it wasn't for Malort, I'd move there now. But the beverage mystery is where one of us brings in a beverage of some sort. The only person that knows what it is the person what brung it. And so let's sample that now in the segment we call The Beverage of Mystery. So I poured this already. I was the one that what brung it today. I poured this already and handed it out. Terry already remarked before the show starts, it looks like Sprite.
Very clear.
Is mostly clear, except for it has a slight berry blush to
I think
it.
it's pearlescent. That's what I was going to say.
It's opaloid.
Yeah, I don't know what the word means, but I just wanted to say pearlescent. What do you get on
That
the
sounds
nose?
like
of
someone's aunt's name. Aunt Pearlescent.
Yeah,
It smells like grapefruit on the nose.
Aunt Pearlescent didn't leave me
It
nothing
smells like
in the will.
It smells like grapefruit and vodka.
It kind of does, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
The grapefruit, that's what it is.
Kind of reminds me, actually, of the Deep
Yeah,
Eddy grapefruit vodka, which is probably one of the better flavored vodkas that I've had.
Definitely the grapefruit. I really grab that.
Well,
Huh.
it makes me think a little bit of Fresca, because Fresca has a little bit of a
It does.
grapefruit and has some
It had
carbonation here.
It
to
has the nose leans slightly toward Fresca. I mean, not exactly, but slightly toward it.
There's grapefruit in it
You know
for
what?
sure.
I'm trying to not like it, but it's
Yeah,
actually
but-
not bad.
I'm not tasting any like the
artificial
artificial
sugary
sweet
aftertaste.
aftertaste.
I'm going to be honest with you. When I just, nosed it, when I just took a sniff, I thought, oh, this is going to have that bad aftertaste to
right.
it. But it doesn't really seem to have that on the
It has
finish.
a real clean aftertaste, like a real clean finish on it. It finishes like clean like a water. It doesn't leave a real sugary thing to you.
This is similar if you get like a LaCroix pamplemousse, which means
LaCroix something.
grapefruit. Sorry.
Does pamplemousse mean grapefruit?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Pamplemousse, grapefruit.
There's actually a
it's very
band called
similar.
Did you just
Pamplemousse.
glitch out and turn into to start talking a different language on me?
It's very similar to the grapefruit sparkling water. There's a kiss
Right,
of
the LaCroix.
sweetness to it
Yeah.
that you don't get with like the LaCroix.
And just a little feel that there's some alcohol there.
And then a little feel that there's a tiny bit of heat.
Vodka,
like,
right? Like it kind of leans vodka.
After I stop drinking and I'm talking for a few minutes, there's a tiny bit of heat that comes back. So it has a bit of a kick. Mm-hmm. I would be surprised if this wasn't in the 13 or 14% pretty easily. But this is actually pretty darn drinkable.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. but
Didn't we have a couple of beverages of mystery in the last 3-4 weeks that were actually tolerable?
We've
I
had some
might
decent
actually
ones.
choose to drink this at some
Wow,
point.
that's big. I don't know if you've ever said that for a beverage of mystery before.
You know, I yeah. If you saw
except
this,
for Malort.
Like this over a glass of ice by the
if
pool
you saw
would be
this by the
pretty
pool
awesome.
in an ice chest and you had some choices, this would be a good one.
Wow.
Is that a beverage of mystery in your pocket, or are you just happy to be here today?
Well, I'm very happy to be here because a beverage of mystery doesn't suck, first of all.
Yeah.
And secondly, yes, that is a beverage of mystery in my pocket.
I did not expect that.
It
that
is an
can.
Absolute Cocktails Sparkling Grapefruit Paloma.
Wow.
So we pretty much nailed
Absolute.
everything that this was.
Wow.
Ready to drink with grapefruit flavor. Now, that's a little scary.
That is a little scary, but you know what? I'll take grapefruit flavor more than
Artificial-
artificial sugar nasty
Yep.
flavor.
Yes, absolutely.
It
And-
is colored with fruit and vegetable juice. I'm not sure what that means.
Wait, how is it colored when it's clear?
No, if you look at it close, there's a slight kind of
It's-
blush
yeah,
to
it's
it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It does
It's
say
pearlescent.
it does say enjoy chilled, and if you're feeling fancy, serve in a cocktail glass with garnish.
And hold your pinky up.
Yeah, that's right. Ian, it's 7% ABV. Not quite as big as you
Wow,
were thinking.
okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was going to be bigger than that. But the other thing, too, is it comes in a skinny can that makes
That's
you feel
what
like
she
you're
said.
drinking skinny. And makes my hands look enormous.
Yeah, that's what she said. No, honestly, it's really pretty good. I
know
mean,
what?
I can find myself, actually, because sometimes if you're having like a party or some friends over at a pool party or something, or you're going to a pool party at a friend's house that has a pool, which
Yeah.
is more likely, sticking a few of those in the cooler along with your favorite beers could not be a bad
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
This
no,
would be
that's
something
really
that's
good.
nice to break up the beer with a little bit. you
Right,
know?
right. It actually finishes clean. I have to say I'm pretty impressed
I
with
finished
the
mine.
absolute.
This is one of the
Thought it was good.
first ready-to-drink cocktails I think we've had in here that we've all absolutely kind of raved about.
Yeah, and usually when we have a ready-to-drink cocktail and we go to break, you look at everybody's glass and it's still almost completely full.
They're like, hey, all right, let's go to break now so we can stop drinking this.
We are going to continue drinking this if we have any left while we go to break, but we have a lot more coming on today's show. The Drunken Fact is right around the corner. We'll find out if Ian had anything interesting to smoke this week. It is Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Show number 438 is happening now. And I just wanted to go back to this for a moment because during the break, we continued to talk about how much we enjoyed today's Beverage of Mystery.
Yeah,
and
really
usually during the break, we talk about how horrible the Beverage of Mystery was. So we want to give credit where credit's due. Props to Absolute Cocktails for coming up with the Grapefruit Paloma. Terry was asking about, could you find this like in the grocery store? And most likely you won't because at least in most states, the grocery stores do not have an alcohol sale license for spirits.
We're not-
It'd have
We're
to
not
be
talking
someplace
to
like
you,
California.
Louisiana.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, I was going to say it'd have to be like in California where it shocks me when you like are checking out at Walmart and don't forget to impulse buy your Jack Daniels on the way out. Yeah.
Listen. When
Nevada.
I years ago moved from Texas to Louisiana, you mentioned Louisiana. First thing I noticed when I stopped at a gas station across the Louisiana border was they had all these spirits behind the counter.
Yep.
I was like at the gas station, but I went on as I lived there to learn that basically every store in Louisiana is a liquor store. They may sell something else, but you could go into KB Toys and buy a 750 milliliter bottle of vodka. Anyway, you won't find this in most grocery stores because it does actually contain vodka.
Right.
So they don't have a
but anywhere they
license
sell
to sell
liquor, you know,
Yeah,
and
right.
depending on your state, like TABC laws, Texas is, you have to go to a liquor store for that.
I got this at Specs, and one of the reasons I got it was because I love Palomas, but Palomas are generally made with tequila. So I thought, what would a Paloma made with vodka in a canned cocktail taste like? And I expected it to be bad, and it really wasn't.
Yeah,
So-
and it's really like this pink decorated can. So
Yeah,
it's
right.
like
No, it's very
you look at
festive.
it and you're like, okay, I don't know if that's going to end up being as good as it
the
seems.
only
but
thing that can is missing is a flamingo.
Yes.
I'm just saying that's the only thing missing from
why
the
is it
can.
not on there?
Yeah, why do they not have a flamingo on there?
All right, Terry,
We
go
need
ahead
to
and
break
let her rip.
Absolute.
Ooh, all right. And wait, why did my thing not work?
Where did your echo go?
Yeah, my echo didn't echo on me there today. It's not echoing. Here we go. And now it's time for another smoking and toasting drinking fact.
I'm glad you got the echo to work because I was ready to go. And now. Our drunken fact for today, good for repeating at parties, and good for us to just be able to play the fanfare. Our drunken fact for today, you're going to love this. If you earned $5,000 an hour, which is just a little less than Terry's pay.
Yeah.
If you earned $5,000 an hour, 24 hours a day, from when the pyramids in Egypt were constructed until today, the world's richest man would still have more money than you.
Wow.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Tesla stock just nosedived again. I may have to recalculate. Let me see. Yeah, no, you're still, yeah.
Wow.
The world's richest man would have more than you if you earn $5,000 an hour, 24 hours a day, from when the pyramids in Egypt were constructed until today.
Wow.
That's an unfathomable amount of money.
And it's also very depressing.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's very depressing.
I would like to earn $5,000 a day.
Yeah, $5,000 a day for
Yeah,
just
I'd
for
be
one day.
happy.
I'd be happy with one day.
Yeah.
Ian, do you have an opportunity to smoke anything interesting this week?
I did. I sat out on my patio and pulled out. This is a cigar that I went and had breakfast and a cigar with Alan Denny the other day, and he brought me this.
I love
because
breakfast in a cigar. That's awesome.
You didn't say you love Alan Denny.
Anyway, he brought me this cigar.
Notice how he just went right past that.
He apparently had just tried it out and really enjoyed it, so he brought it to me. So I thought I'll do a review on this. This is a West Tampa Tobacco Company, Circle of Life. Now, there's a story about the guy that started West Tampa Tobacco Company. I won't get into it today, but it's an interesting story, so go look that up. This is called Circle of Life.
It's a Wheel of Fortune.
The Robusto 5x50 with a Mexican San Andreas wrapper.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me. Actually, my thing auto-corrected to say San Andres.
Yeah.
But close enough. And then Nicaraguan binder, Nicaraguan filler. The appearance on is dark espresso brown wrapper, super oily, veiny, leathery, and uneven. all the way down the length of the cigar. Black and gold band with a gold footer. The pre-light sniff on this, earth and cocoa with coffee and tea leaf. The pre-light draw on this, I used a V-cut. It had a very gentle draw. I got dark chocolate, dark fruit, creamy sweet cappuccino on
I'm
it.
liking this already.
The initial light on this,
Nicaraguan pepper blast.
Nicaraguan pepper blast, right off the bat, and in a beautiful way with deep dark chocolate and leather following up. Dark fruit follows. Retrohale is peppery and woody. The first third of this dark chocolate and sweet cappuccino with creamy quality dark fruit and wood offsets the pepper and spice. A brownie batter note lingering in the aftertaste. Retrohale is sweet bread and spicy cedar with a flaky ash and good burn. Proposed pairing of this malty amber beer or brown ale. The whiskey sniff led me to Elijah Craig. The second third of this, a kiss of vanilla from the Elijah Craig elevates the brownie batter note. Black pepper and a kiss of cinnamon follow. Creamy cappuccino lingers. Retrohale is spicy cedar and cocoa flaky ash. Good burn. Last third of this, black pepper ramps up and it is tempered by sweet cappuccino and rich dark fruit. Earthy notes with a touch of leather and cinnamon follows. Retrohale is peppery and sweet with cedar. Flaky ash, good burn. Price to quality, solid 6 at $11.
At $11. Oh, solid 6. Wow. It sounds like this sounds like my kind of cigar.
Absolutely fantastic. Buy one, buy 5.
I love it, and I intend to do just that. Smoking and Toasting, directly influencing sales, because I'm going to buy some. We'll be right back after this break. You're watching and listening to Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back, my friends. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about the, the three main, basic needs of life: craft beer, hand-rolled cigars, and distilled spirits. That's what we're all about. And we love those things. We'll talk about all those things on the show. And speaking of cigars, we have to tip the hat today to the state of Louisiana, where the legislature recently passed HB 325. It was signed into law by the governor last week, and it institutes a 50-cent tax cap on the purchase of handmade cigars.
Wait a minute.
The law will go into effect on January 1 of next year.
Are you telling me that there are lawmakers out there that do things that make sense on occasion?
Through December 31, 2027, this tax cap will be on cigars invoiced by the manufacturer at $2,500 per or more per thousand, a tax of 50 cents per cigar maximum. So it means that any cigar that has a wholesale price of $2.50 or more will be taxed at 50 cents and no more.
It's about time.
Yeah.
Can you imagine New York doing that?
No.
No, I can't either.
But I also can't imagine there being a cigar in New York that was less than $2.50 wholesale. Have you tried to buy cigars in New York? Holy moly.
No, and if I was going to New York, I would bring cigars.
Right. That's what we do when we go to California. It's the same thing because cigars are
California
super expensive
has outrageous prices on
there.
cigars.
And you wonder why, it's harder for I actually did go and buy some cigars at a brick and mortar store in California when I was spending some time out there a few years ago, just because I wanted to support these poor guys. I mean, they're trying to do a business, and basically anybody that lives in California that smokes more than just the occasional cigar is going to be getting them online.
And for those of you who haven't ventured out to California and don't understand what the big deal is,
well, there's smoking restrictions,
we're talking
right?
about like 50% more per cigar. So
Yeah.
that cigar that you generally pay $10 for is $15 immediately,
right,
or more.
And it's getting to where it's tough to find cigars that are less than $10 or $15 in a lot of states, and California certainly is one of those. It's pretty bad when you go, you shop the bottom row, where they put all the the seconds and the short, short filler cigars. Yeah, they start at $10 a pop. It's like, oh man. Well, congratulations to Louisiana for
thank you, Louisiana.
Yeah, for doing something positive for cigar smokers. I think it's a wonderful thing. Speaking of cigars, let me tell you about the cigar that I had the opportunity to smoke this week. I smoked the Perla Del Mar Shade Double Toro, which is made by the J.C. Newman Cigar Company. Now, J.C. Newman is in Tampa. It's America's oldest family-owned premium cigar maker. but that doesn't mean that they're not on the cutting edge of what's new. You may be familiar with their El Baton line, and you're almost certainly in the know about their Brick House line of cigars. But one of their more popular or more interesting, rather, brand labels is PDM, or Perla Del Mar. And this week I smoked the Perla Del Mar Shade Double Toro. The line is rolled at J.C. Newman Pensa in Nicaragua. Both the Maduro and Shade versions of the blend were made slightly stronger during a recent reblend with new aged Nicaraguan filler tobaccos. My Double Toro was a box pressed 6x60, which is a little larger than my usual
that's bigger than your
ring
usual
gauge,
smoke,
but
yeah.
it being box pressed made it still, not feel like it was quite so massive around. Pre-light on it was very vegetal, notes of barley and hay. Not unlike walking into your favorite brewery, that smell that you get, which, the cold draw confirmed that, but added a sweet tobacco note and a little bit of nuttiness. I used a V-cutter, and I lit this baby up, and as I expected, there was nothing to even resemble a Nicaraguan pepper blast. It was pretty mellow, in fact, at least initially. I didn't pick up any pepper at all, even though the Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper is draped over Nicaraguan binder and fillers on this cigar. I knew that wrapper would likely make the cigar more mild, but with all the other tobacco from Nicaragua, I was a little bit surprised that the first third started out squarely in the mild category from a strength perspective. I got nuts, cedar, and a little bit of that vegetal note from the pre-light before the Perla Del Mar started to tick upwards in strength a little bit. By the time I hit the second third, I'd say it was mild to medium and on its way to a full medium bodied, with spices dancing across the base notes of buttered toast and salted nuts. The burn on the Perla Del Mar, as you'll see in some of these pictures if you're watching the video version of the show, it wasn't pretty. And I decided to go ahead and touch it up during the second third. It responded reasonably well, but even if it hadn't, I was distracted by the rude noise of a leaf blower starting up about 10 yards from where I was sitting. How do they find me? I'm here trying to, go into cigar land in my mind. And anyway, the touch-ups seemed to work, and the flavors actually deepened and became more complex as I worked my way toward the half point of the cigar. By the time I got to the final third, the strength and body of the Perla Del Mar had definitely hit a solid medium. The flavors didn't change a lot from the second third, although I did start to finally pick up some white pepper notes on the finish that tingled my tongue a little bit. Suggested pairing. I'm thinking something slightly smoky, like a good artisanal mezcal, something similar to the Yubal Añejo artisanal mezcal that we had here on the show recently.
That was
so good. I think the smokiness would work well with the buttered toast notes, kind of like a fine barbecue sandwich. I actually paired it with salted caramel iced tea, and it was delightful. So overall, while this cigar wasn't exactly in my wheelhouse from a flavor standpoint, it delivered what it did quite nicely. The burn was a little wonky, but it didn't deter from the flavors and only required a couple of touch-ups as I smoked it down. Draw was good, and the flavors were pronounced enough that I was able to recognize and enjoy them. The Perla Del Mar Shade Double Toro smoked for almost 2 hours. It costs about $9. Now, there's a bit of competition at that price point.
I got to say, though, 2 hours?
Yeah, but just short
For
of 2 hours.
$9?
It was about an hour and 50 minutes. If you're looking for something a little less in your face than one of, say, AJ's blends at about $9 or an Ice Oliva, this might be a good cigar for you to try. I did enjoy it, and I will go ahead and give it a 5 on the price to quality scale. It was a pretty enjoyable 2 hours.
The price to quality scale that we use is a scale from 1 to 10, and if you get a 5 on the price to quality scale, you're getting exactly what you pay for. You get above a 5, you're pushing. You're punching above your weight class, so to speak.
And
if you get a little less than 5, it can still be a good cigar. Maybe it's just a little outpriced itself.
And that happens from time to time. I've had some fantastic cigars that I couldn't quite bring to give a 5 because maybe they were $15 cigar, and I thought it's not that much better than my favorite $8 or $9 cigars.
Yeah, when you can buy that San Latano or
exactly. And some of these $8 or $9 cigars, if you're careful watching online stuff, you can pick them up for even less than that at the right price, at the right buy.
Buddy.
So that can be a good thing. Ian's pouring our first beer for today. This one is a Pacific West Coast lager from a brewery that is located in Brooklyn, New York, which seems kind of interesting.
Yeah,
but
they're
listen,
shooting from the other side of the playground, so to speak. Here,
but if you think about it, there's plenty of West Coast breweries that do New England IPAs and do them rather well.
Yes.
So we'll see what this is like. I'm really curious though, because I'm not exactly sure what qualifies something as a Pacific Northwest lager.
what's old has become new again. Our Pacific Northwest lager focuses on Mount Hood and Sterling, two classic American hop varietals. Once popular that nearly went extinct, it's the passion of small growers and kindred craft brewers alike that have kept these varietals alive.
Wow.
The nose is amazing.
It is, and
it smells great.
take a sip of this. I'm actually really impressed with this beer.
Yeah, me too.
In fact, to me, if you've got someone who's a macro brew consumer, somebody who drinks like a Miller Lite or something like that, or a Budweiser, if you want to show them what a lager with actual really good flavor is, this would be a recommendation.
This
Very
almost
good.
brings a tear to my eye.
Three's Brewing Company, based in Brooklyn, New York. Their Pacific Northwest lager called False Memory is what
Man,
we're
New
drinking.
York has some great breweries.
Brooklyn Brewery, another Brooklyn-based, not to mention Three's Brewing Company. As Terry pointed out, Three's Brewing Company.
Company,
Yeah,
Come
it's
and knock on my door.
yeah. There you go. This is delicious. It's delicious and refreshing and light. What's the
is
ABV
so
on this?
good. I love the flavor on this. It's got big carbonation, but that carbonation kind of spices it up on the tongue and just lets that maltiness just sweeten up the whole palate. It's
And it really works as a thirst quencher too, with that carbonation, just kind of like tickling your tongue and working.
There's no bitterness to the finish at all.
No.
And some lagers have that little bit of bitter on the finish.
And that's not a bad thing, but this has like no bitterness on the finish. There's also not a lot of sweetness on the finish. It finishes so clean, it's almost deceptive. It finishes almost like a sparkling water.
Yes.
It's 4.7%, and it says here mountain fresh, wildflowers, light and crisp. All those things kind of resonate.
The wildflower thing.
What's the availability on it?
I'm not sure. I do know that here in Houston, we are able to find beers from New York.
Okay.
Because I buy Brooklyn Brewing stuff all the
Brooklyn
time. I don't think these guys maybe have as wide a distribution, but you should be able to find it. And obviously, if you're in New York, this is going to be easy to find.
Yeah.
And it's called False Memory. Once again, a Pacific Northwest lager from Three's Brewing Company.
Really
wow,
good.
big thumbs up on
My
this.
only complaint on this is how fast it evaporates out of the glass.
I have noticed that as being one of the problems
it
of
has
this
highly
beer.
evaporative properties here.
And it's really unfortunate when you're Terry and you're further away from the refill.
pour.
Yeah, so I'll pass that over to you, Terry.
Longingly watch
Yeah.
y'all.
Terry's back behind the control board because he's the engineer and producer for the show. So he's he's at a distinct disadvantage when it comes to beer refills.
fantastic beer.
Isn't
I
it
can't get
really?
over it.
Really is.
This is one of the better lagers I think we've had in quite some time on the show.
That is light. It's crispy. It finishes clean. It is so flavorful right up front, without being overpowering, and it's a delicate. It's a delicate kind of flavor. Like you have to stop and think about it for a moment. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's something that I could see being very sessionable as well. At 4.7, it's not too big, you know?
Yeah, this would be, if this was something I could buy right around here, this would be in my refrigerator at all times.
Again, I will just say this. If you have a friend that's a macro brew lager drinker, get them to try this. This could really pull them in, towards the world of better tasting beers.
Almost like, and it takes this much, like a couple cups of this, a couple small cups of this of drinking for me to even detect on the aftertaste. There's a kiss of citrus on the aftertaste.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
We were talking about, macro brew lager drinkers. I was in the checkout line last week at the little store Phoenicia that's downstairs in my building, and they have a wonderful beer selection. It's small, but it's really well curated, and they always rotate stuff in and out. But of course, they have the macro brews too. And there's a guy in front of me checking out with a 6-pack of Bud Light, and I came this close to tapping him on the shoulder and going, there's a lot better beer here. Would that have been rude had I done that? It kind of would, wouldn't it?
The problem is there are people out there who that's just their jam. Like Bud Light is just their jam. That's what they're going to have.
Like Kid Rock.
And that is what they drink at all times and to the exclusion of everything else. And that's bizarre to me because that's like eating pizza every day and the same pizza every day, and that's all you ever eat.
Right.
It's very strange.
Well, one of the things about craft beer is that most people who are fans of it, you may have favorites, but what you probably do is taste all kinds of stuff all the time and change up because that's part of the fun, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm always looking for a new craft beer. Or maybe I just want a different flavor today or something like that. It's, I like to, even if I'm sitting around the house or I'm outside having a cigar, my first beer might be this and my second beer might be completely different.
Mm-hmm. I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start when I'm buying beer and I'm in line at the store, I'm going to always have it like a 6-pack of lager in my hands, right? To check out. And if I see someone buying, a 6-pack of Budweiser or Miller Lite or whatever, I'm going to check out and then I'm going to hurry to offer them one of my good lagers and go, here, just try this.
Yeah.
No strings attached.
You know what you could have said?
You look like a nice guy.
Instead
Try
of
this.
saying, hey, there's really good beer over there, you could have asked them, hey, I haven't actually had one of those in years. What is the flavor profile?
Yeah. I have a feeling that wouldn't
Flavor
take you very far.
profile.
I have a feeling that wouldn't take you very far. But hey, who's going to turn down a free beer, right? So if you're checking out with a 6-pack of lager, you break one of them off and go, hey, bud, I noticed you're a beer lover. Here, try one of these on me. No strings. You gotta wonder. They would look at you funny, I'm sure. But why is that?
Why are you giving me
if you're in a bar and you buy somebody a drink, it's like, hey, buy him one on me. That's like not a big deal, right? But in the grocery store, it's weird.
Yeah, it's not. It's weird. It's weird when they yeah. But hey, I feel like you're right. Free beer, someone might pull it out and be like, yeah, let's do it.
It could work.
You could change someone's life.
That's right. You could start them on a path of discovery and exploration. I like this idea. I feel like this is my calling. I'm like a craft beer missionary.
That's what this show's about, but it would be in person.
I'm gonna go to foreign countries where
You're
they
like
haven't
Johnny
had...
Craft Beer Seed.
That's right. I love this.
Hey, this is the manager at the HEB. I just want to let you know there's this guy.
There's
he
this
just keeps
weird-
giving out beer to people as people are checking out at
I
the
am
front.
Johnny Hopseed. Do not bother me.
Johnny Hopseed.
We got to take a break, and we will be back. You're watching and listening to Smoking and Toasting. The rhythm was spot on there. Welcome back. Welcome back at Smoking and Toasting. Oh, that's so ridiculous. Nice to have you guys on board as we do a program that's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Now, with the price of craft beer increasing from everything from aluminum tariffs to difficulties in harvesting hops without immigrant workers or whatever the things might be that are impacting the price of craft beer, you may notice that some people are occasionally buying some cheaper beers and staffing them in their fridge. Or maybe you're going to a party and you're pretty convinced that the person throwing the party has only got cheap beer in their fridge or in their coolers. What can you do besides taking your own beer? Well, there are some good pointers we can give you to make cheap beer taste better. And this comes from an article at The Tasting Table, which is a pretty cool website. If you haven't been around it, you might want to check it out. In a perfect world.
I have a couple ideas.
Okay.
So to make cheap beer taste better, you can pour it down the sink.
Yeah.
You can drink a bunch of whiskey before.
True.
Or a bunch of vodka before.
Mm-hmm.
Or a bunch of tequila before. Like, those are all options, right?
Sure.
That's all I can think of. Oh, yes. There's the whole drink it super cold and punch a hole in the side of the can before you open it.
And take as much of it as quickly as you can.
And get it down to about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, I want to say there, I don't know that counts as increasing the flavor or bypassing the flavor is what I would figure
I
that
think
as. That's
Terry's
more
onto
of a
something.
bypassing the flavor is what that counts
But I was kind of looking at it as the same thing when it comes to cheap beer.
Well, you don't always have to settle for a watery pint when you need a drink, and the macro brews are the only thing available. There are ways to make them more palatable, and here is the big one. It's one you might not expect. Add a few dashes of cocktail bitters. You can carry cocktail bitters in your pocket to the party, and when no one's looking, just blink, blink. Yep. It's not a new idea. It's been around since the 19th century,
Really?
when the
Wow.
French came up with Amer Picon, a type of bitter orange liqueur that they would splash into their beer. The zesty flavor gave the flat, cheap beer some much-needed body, while the slight sweetness of caramel smoothens out the texture for a more satisfying finish. Today, this trick is still popular among some bartenders and mixologists.
Okay, so I don't think I have any cheap beer at the house. But I do. I think I have a Pilsner and maybe a lager. Maybe it's worth trying when I get home.
Yeah, if you've got some bitters. They say there are plenty of tried and tested ideas for you to mix right now, including some common bitters that even basic at-home mixing stations should have. They say grab a Miller High Life, pour it into a glass, add a tablespoon of Aperol, A-P-E-R-O-L, Aperol, and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And they promise that the beer spritz that creates will be much, much tastier than your typical Miller.
I know what it is. Usually when I buy beer, I don't have to do anything.
I was just about to say, or you could just go buy good beer. But,
but there are some situations where you may not
you're
have
right,
that
where
option,
you
right?
might not have that
Stuck.
option. Yeah, you
Now,
may.
according to Tasting Table, this could even work for some of your more sophisticated beers. For pale ale enthusiasts, they say consider adding some Fee Brothers grapefruit bitters to Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. And it'll give the bitter hops just a much-needed boost, they say. Add a tablespoon at a time until the flavor is just right. And for dark beers, like Founders Brewing Company's Ale Porter Dark, the rich coffee-like notes, they say, will go great together with herbal amari, such as the sage and wormwood of Dr. 00 Amarno. So you can use cocktail bitters as a flavor adjuster, they say, in almost any kind of beer. But the big headline is that it can actually make cheap beer much more palatable.
Also, well, one of the things I'm taking from this is if you're talking about bitters, you're going to mispronounce a lot of things.
And I always do.
I have no idea what the correct pronunciation is. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I barely understand how to pronounce bitters. So I wanted to call it butters, but that's a character
Butters.
on South Park. So, what have you poured for us today? And when
Was
we
it
need
general disarray.
yeah, what's the what have you
He
poured
was,
for us here?
Professor Chaos.
Yeah, that's right. I love this can design,
brilliant.
as Ian was pointing out, and I think we may have a close-up to it. But this is from Jester King. They're based out of Austin, Texas, and it says new and improved, even though this is the first time they've released this.
Love it.
It is Citrus Fruit Direct, F-R-O-O-T for fruit, a hazy India Pale Ale with fresh squeezed orange juice.
And boy, does it taste like it,
Your
too.
thoughts, sir? Yeah.
Like, this is not just for breakfast anymore.
No, for sure.
It's pretty good.
It's definitely got hop bitters to it. So they didn't, the orange juice, well, if you think about it, orange juice, if you drink it unsweetened, has a little bit of bitterness to it as well.
Yeah, there's a little bit of bitter
Yes.
to an unsweetened orange juice. And I prefer that. Hazy India Pale Ale with hand-selected Citra and Mosaic, crushed cryo, HBC, something.
So this has real orange juice in it, so it's
Yes.
probably a good
1019,
source of vitamin C.
HBC
That's right.
1019, and fresh squeezed orange juice, brewed and canned by Jester King.
I'm betting this is better for you than a big can of high C fruit juice, fruit punch with 10% real fruit juice. Yeah.
This smells fantastic.
You like
too.
this?
I don't know that I love it,
Yeah.
but it's not bad.
I don't think it's my favorite hazy, but I can't get around how much I'm enjoying tasting
I
that.
like it. It's a
that
clean. It's got a
actual
clean taste.
orange, that sort of bitter orange taste to it. I'm loving that. You know.
There's the mouthfeel on this is really big. Like that's one of the things like that it really there's no thinness to the mouthfeel here. It's a big, robust.
And
mouthfeel.
this is kind of what I would expect from Jester
also-
King, because they don't seem to do easy beers, if you know what I'm saying.
It also leaves your mouth salivating in that way that orange juice does.
We
you
call
know?
that the Doritos effect.
Yeah. It's just-
You know, makes you want another one. I think it's definitely worth trying.
Oh, yeah.
If you enjoy hazy IPAs, might not become your favorite, but it will become
would-
one that you will definitely think is interesting and want to try again.
yeah, it's very interesting. It's not my favorite from Jester King, but if Jester King doesn't make
They don't make
they don't make anything that isn't super high quality. So
And they
you
don't
can
make
taste
anything-
the quality in here.
they don't make anything sort of standard either. They go for
You know what it
unusual and
is?
interesting
Now
beers.
that I've stopped drinking it a little bit and I get the aftertaste, it's that orange zest is what it
That
leaves
you
in your
get
mouth.
kind of from right close to the peel that
Yeah,
orange
it's
zest
like
flavor.
if you get a little piece of that the pulpy white stuff between
Yep.
the peel and the orange,
Yeah.
and you get that stuck in your teeth. That's what it's.
Which
left
is
in
hard
my
as hell to peel off the orange, by the way. So I'm sure some of it got into the mix. We have to take a break. We'll be back with hour 2. Drinking news is on the way, as well as some rum from Ron Zacapa. We'll be right back with that. It's Smoking and Toasting. That was nice. Welcome back to hour 2 of Smokin' and Toastin'. It is show number 438, and our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Thank you guys for joining us for the show today. I have been able to determine through, exhaustive attempts that there is actually one line in a Pink Floyd album that I can sing just as well as the members of Pink Floyd.
Oh,
Sid Barrett, Roger Waters.
Yeah.
David
Roger
Gilmour?
Waters, David Gilmour. Yeah. There's one line.
Nick Mason.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to point out, we're going to get to this rum in a moment, but in this hand is my pour, and in this hand is Ian's pour. I just want to point out the
zoom in
disparity
over there.
as the guy who. No, it's fine. I don't care. I'm just giving you a hard time. All right, so I thought I'd perform my Pink Floyd line for you guys here on the program, since I can sing it just as well as anyone in Pink Floyd did on their recording. Ready? Vera, Vera,
I love that song.
what has become of you? See, that's just as good as Roger Waters. I think it's Roger Waters. That's not David Gilmour. It's Roger Waters.
Yeah, that was Roger
that one,
Waters.
Roger Waters, yeah.
The reason that I bring that lovely song to the table
You know,
is because, what?
when Roger Waters left Pink Floyd, he told them that he was Pink Floyd, and there was no way the band could make it without him.
Yeah.
Then they went on to create their 2 best-selling albums of all time. Outselling.
No, it didn't outsell Dark Side of the Moon, did it? Dark Side of the Moon is like one of the best-selling albums of all time.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know what the actual numbers are on that, but I mean,
But they did fine. They did
I don't know,
fine
and
with
that also did sound a little Bob Geldof-y. I mean, did he sing any of the stuff in that
No, just
in that movie
just
at all?
in the recreated
in the recreated
wall.
stuff in
Yeah.
the way, yeah.
But the reason I bring up Vera at all is because that's the name of the newest hop. Vera hops.
what has become of you?
The Agricultural Research Service has announced a new public aroma hop, USDA-ARS Vera. It was formerly known as HRC 003 or W1108-333, but Vera is
Now, why
much
did
better.
they get rid of that name?
We learned that from it was one of the guests just a couple weeks ago about how they are numbered until they are
That
used
was
a
Lone
lot.
Pine was talking about that.
Yeah, and he was talking about how, and then when they're used a lot, when they finally make it, that's when a hop is made it. That's its Hollywood Walk of Fame star.
Well,
right
apparently,
there,
what is
getting a name.
Apparently, what has become of Vera is a standout aroma of tropical fruit, stone fruit, and citrus. And this is very important. This new hop brings serious disease resistance to the farm because problems with disease and critters and stuff have plagued hop growers for years. With its release, brewers can have a new public hop option to diversify hop bills and drive innovation in hop-forward beer styles. It was developed through a hop breeding program in Prosser, Washington, and originated from a 2011 cross between Brewer's Gold and a mildew-resistant Wild American male hop, USDA 64103M, which has always been one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I like the breeding program. I feel like that one. I feel like out there is just a field of hops, and then they're just playing Kenny G. Is that how that goes?
No, apparently they were playing Pink Floyd. So anyway, congratulations. And by the way, it's named after Vera Catherine Charles, a pioneering USDA mycologist who worked extensively on fungi and helped build the National Fungus Collection. Just when you thought you knew what the government was up to,
Wow.
there's a National Fungus Collection.
Yes, there is.
Anyway, this hop is uniquely resistant to hop powdery mildew fungus. So
Okay.
so I'm looking forward to trying my first beer brewed with Vera.
Now, how long I wonder will that take before someone
I don't
or is
know.
someone actually using
Well,
that?
someone
as
must
a,
be
somebody's
they
using
must
it.
be
If
using
it's
it.
somebody's using
If
it
it's
already.
been named
Okay.
Vera, somebody's
Yeah.
using it.
So we need to find what's being brewed with Vera. That's the goal.
You know, one of the things that I love about working with Ian is I can always count on him if I'm talking about something like Vera hops. I can always count on him to begin researching our next beverage.
Well, I'm always looking ahead to the next section of the show to make
That's
sure that
good.
everything
Yeah, sure,
runs
that's good to know.
fluidly and smoothly.
And today you've been researching our Zacapa Edicion Negro rum, which
So, Zacapa rum is fantastic to begin with.
generally
okay?
speaking, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, like if you buy a bottle of Zacapa, you're buying something that's going to be quite good. This takes it to the next level.
This has and it is a very dark rum. You can see that for any rum that's
Incredibly
been
dark rum.
Yeah.
And that's obviously where it's going to get its Edicion Negra name, but
So
it
wonderful
is-
on the
It
nose.
sticks to the side of the glass. Look at how it just sticks
Yeah,
to the side.
It's oily, it's beautiful,
Wow.
and that translates too. When you take a sip, it just spreads across the palate, like it just takes over, and
It
it
takes
is a
forever to get the
beautiful.
legs.
Like a chocolate surprise.
Oh,
chocolate
and it leaves a
caramel
salted,
surprise.
burnt caramel
Which I love that flavor.
in the aftertaste, in the end of the
Wow.
palate. It does that.
Wow. Wow.
It's a blend of rums aged in our Cisterna Solera for at least 6 years at high altitude using selected casks that previously stored American whiskey, sherry, and Pedro Jimenez wines. The liquid is finished in artisanally charred American oak cask, creating a rich, dark rum with a smoky aroma, accentuated woody, spicy notes, inspired by the natural elements of Guatemala and the dark fire of its volcanoes. This is a rum that is bold in flavor with taste like no other. And I will tell you, that oak finish is so big. I mean, it's like you taste in some of the older scotches, those kind of things, that
right.
super dry, a little bit astringent, oaky finish.
This definitely gives off the aroma of a very fine spirit, like you were saying, a really aged scotch,
Yeah.
or something that has, some real, just some real infusion of the barrel, to it.
And I don't notice. It's funny when you sip it, you don't notice any heat. But then after you have
the
fully
rum hug.
finished,
Yeah.
and then wait, you count to 10, and then there you go. It comes back and it.
This is a Guatemalan rum too. I don't know if we've had a lot of rums from Guatemala.
From virgin sugar cane and finished in artisanally charred oak barrels at high altitude. It is
This rum is fantastic.
delicious. Oh, details.
Yeah.
Look at the Zacapa here.
Oh, around
So
the
in the bottom
inside
of the bottle, for those of you not watching this, if you're listening, you know how the bottom of a wine bottle is pushed in to create
Right, it has that little
dome on the inside, right? Well, inside that, when you're looking in the bottle, inside that it says Zacapa, so it gives a beautiful 3D
It is really well done. Yes.
kind of thing. It's a nice detail, completely unnecessary, and I absolutely love it.
I think
Look at how
this is-
dark that rum is. It is just gnarly dark. I love it.
It really does like sit on the palate for a moment or two after the finish has done its thing.
Yes.
You get that rum hug, but then the flavor is still on your mid palate, on your tongue. It's absolutely wonderful. This is one of the better rums I think we've had in a while. And we've talked about having Docs from Plant Array back on the show again soon. He always brings in some great stuff, but this I think is competitive with some of the better rums that he has brought in.
Yeah. This is really good.
And this is not a funky rum though. This is a spicy rum.
No.
Right. It's not that rubbery rum funk that you get from like
the
Jamaican type
There's
rums.
no funk really. I mean, I'm not. It's really that spicy
It's encouraging
version.
you to grow some funk of your own.
Yeah,
I
this
think.
does have a very earthy kind of finish to it, though, that I really dearly like.
I just love the salted burnt caramel. To me, that's one of my favorite flavors in a beverage.
It's a really nice finish on there.
$56 bottle
Really?
of rum.
For
Yes.
something
I do that. I do that
special.
on the way home.
Yeah.
I do that on the way home.
Well, here's what it looks like in the big container.
Yeah, so it
there.
comes in the big, in the tube.
Yeah, definitely.
All the info.
Definitely worth it, for sure.
Yeah.
This is something
Absolutely.
special. This is one to bring out for special toasts and special occasions.
Yeah.
And for special occasions, meaning I want some.
I keep the Zacapa on
that's
my
my
shelf
problem
at all
with-
times.
Do you really? Yeah.
Yes.
What do you
this
usually
one will be
keep
one
the-
that I'll put next to it. What's that?
Which one do you normally keep?
The
Centenario?
the first one you gave me. And it's the same one I've replaced it with.
I think it might be like an 8-year.
I think it's an 8-year. I think it's a year statement. And it's
And of course, in rum,
fantastic.
the year statement can refer to the oldest rum in the mix. So it may not all be 8 years aged, but there is some 8-year age. This one forgoes the age statement, but clearly it's been aged in these oak barrels.
Well,
there
this
is
one
no
says at
age
least
statement on
6.
there?
What's that?
This one says at least 6.
At least 6. Okay.
Okay.
So there are a few rums that I keep on my shelf now. Like, and
So
I
would
never
that mean
was a huge
at
rum
least
fan, but
6 for everything that's in there?
No,
Yeah.
for at least. Well, does it say that?
no, it said. Hold on, I read it earlier. It says, here we go. A blend of rums aged in our Cisterna Solera for at least 6.
Okay. Yeah.
So everything in here is 6 years
6
later.
years or more.
And so like that Zacapa, and I believe you're right. I believe it's the 8 that I keep on my shelf. The Isle of Fiji rum
Yes, that's so good.
is outrageous. That's always on my shelf.
and not
I
too
have it.
expensive.
And
Yeah.
the Porteño. Those are like
The Porteño is great.
those are staples. Those are like we have to have these
Love
if we
that.
have nothing else.
Love that. I'm a big fan of rum. My absolute favorite beverage is generally tequila, but sitting here drinking this, I'm not sure there's a tequila I want instead of this. You know what I mean?
no, yeah.
Like this is just absolutely wonderful. And I just, we talked about the fact that often Jamaican rums have that rubberish funk, and that can be very enjoyable. But there's none of that
love
here.
the
This
funky
is
stuff.
this is just salted
enjoy-
burnt caramel all the way down.
I enjoy this kind of more spicy rum, and I continue to be surprised by rum each time I find something like this that just really, is amazing. Like
I'm looking
that.
forward to
That's-
Doc's coming back on and surprising us again because he
I
always does.
I enjoyed his. It was the land selection 12 is what I had last time, and boy, that was a very good one. But again, spicy rum like that, and I'm out of the pouring range.
Is it
mentioned-
dangerous for me to just pass the whole bottle to Terry?
Leave the bottle, bartender.
By the way, bartenders never do that
No, we
except on TV and in movies.
yeah, why
Yeah.
in TV? They're always happy to do that in TV, and then just walk
I'm just
away.
watching the show the other night. There's like three of the main characters in the show drinking at the bar. They've got a bottle sitting there. One of them pulls the top off and refills their glasses.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that.
That doesn't happen.
Not allowed. Now, if you go up to Reserve 101, especially on their barrel pick night, You order your drink, they're going to leave the bottle there for you to inspect the bottle.
Oh, that's cool.
But,
It's a cool
but
thing
it's
they
not
do.
there for you to pour
It's not
your
there
own.
for you to go.
keep
Oh,
pouring.
yeah. Watch them come over and slap your hand if you try to pour yourself another little bit of it. Well, this is just outstanding. We're going to have to talk about this some more in our next segment. Plus, we're getting dangerously close to drinking news. That's the segment of the program where we bring you a story that is
Madness.
sometimes, but not always, about drinking, but is always best enjoyed with you if you've been drinking. And by the time we get there, we'll have been drinking more of this rum. We'll be right back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting, the radio program that is heard weekly on great radio stations like KZQQ, Abilene, Texas. Welcome.
Awesome.
Loved it.
KZQQ. Welcome to you, ladies and
I've only
gentlemen.
been through Abilene like a couple times.
Yeah. Abilene is one of those, it's one of those Texas towns that unless you live there, nobody really knows much about, but it has a certain mythical,
we all know about
Wild
it.
West quality to it. You know?
does. Yeah, everybody knows about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys for listening in Abilene. We appreciate you, and we actually think that you're awesome. So there you go. Isn't it? Wasn't it in Parenthood when Steve Martin had to sub in for the balloon clown guy for the kid's birthday party?
Oh,
and
yeah, I
he
think
would say at the end, "I'm on my way to Abilene." Do not ask me why I remember that. That is a pop culture reference that even Terry is kind of shaking his head at.
But I remember Parenthood. I know Steve Martin. Steve Martin is one of my favorites of all time. I watched so much. As a matter of fact, I was watching The Three Amigos the other day, which was my daughter walked in and just sat there and was amazed that this was a thing at all. And
That her dad found it funny? Is that what you...
she loved it. She found
Okay.
it funny. But her question about Steve Martin was his hair always like that? Was he every movie I've ever seen?
Yeah, no,
she was
his
like,
hair-
he never. And I was like, yeah, he just has had
His hair turned white at like 25 or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
By the way, if you've never read it, Steve Martin has an autobiography. And I didn't actually read it, but I listened to it like the audiobook.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which he narrates himself,
Oh,
and it was
nice.
just wonderful.
Oh, wow.
It's really, really good. There's so many interesting things that come out in that,
I love
and things
audiobooks.
that he talks about. So Steve Martin, one of the all-time greats, still one of the all-time greats.
started out doing magic in Disneyland.
That's right, and he talks about that in the audiobook. So
yeah.
it's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan. Speaking of worth checking out, I got to talk again about this $55 rum that is, if we were to do this on a price to quality scale, this is batting way above its price range. I realize $55 is a lot to pay for a bottle of spirits, but think about it in whiskey terms. If you bought a $55 bottle of whiskey, you're expecting a good whiskey. You're not necessarily expecting top shelf.
Let's
right?
put it in Scotch terms.
Yeah.
You buy a $55 bottle of Scotch, you're scratching the surface.
That's my point. And this not only scratches the surface, I mean, this breaks through and heads for the molten core of the planet.
Yeah.
Is what it does. It just
I wish you had a more dramatic way of putting it.
I've often been criticized for not having flowery enough language, and but I won't criticize your bottle opening skills because you, sir, have got it going on. No, honestly, this
I'm
is
just like Stacy's mom.
if you have
I
not.
met her once and she was so beautiful. Rachel Hunter.
You actually met Rachel Hunter?
Yes, I actually met Rachel Hunter. It was great. It was one of the local radio stations. It was a rock station at one time, and we had another station that was one of the pop stations, which is still around. And then there were 5 other stations in the building, and what we did was we conspired, and we had her on, and we didn't let any of the other stations have her on. And she was gorgeous. She was absolutely... But she was one of those that when you saw her in real life, you were like, oh, you're even prettier in real life than you are in the video.
So to you guys out there listening to this, if you're wondering why I'm here every week, right? I get to hang out with these radio veterans, and they have stories. Their stories are so amazing, so fun. Also, I get to drink with them.
Yeah, and it's fun. Like if you're drinking with people and they have good stories, it just makes everything better, right?
Exactly.
It does. So I'll tell you about 2 because I, in my radio career, which is long behind me. But I got to interview a number of really amazing and wonderful people and some complete and total jerks.
FYI, I used to listen to this guy on the radio back in the day, too.
If you called me to request a song, I probably said something like, yeah, I got that coming right up. And lied to your face or your phone. The two I remember that wowed me, because you were talking about meeting Rachel Hunter and how beautiful she is. Shirley Manson from Garbage, who is beautiful, but the thing about her is when she speaks, that Scottish accent will drive a man wild.
Oh,
yeah. So she was the first. And then the second, and guys, this was the 80s, so I apologize. But Daisy Fuentes.
Oh, yeah.
I was in love, my friends.
Yes.
I just was.
Wow.
I could barely speak, and I had to like co-host a thing with her at an event in San Antonio years and years ago. And I was like,
You're
hot. Wow.
You're hot. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
still
good.
a beautiful woman.
That was
by
still
the
a
way.
beautiful.
Do you know
woman,
who she's married to?
I sleep
No,
in
who?
a
She's married to
drawer.
Richard freaking Marx.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right. She is. She's
Richard
married
Marx.
to Richard Marx. Of all, that's so. Look at him.
I went to a
at him and
concert
his love
last
songs.
year, and he was the opening act. And by the way, he was very entertaining. So you hate me if you want.
Yeah.
But he did a great job. It was just him and a guitar.
Yeah.
He did a great job. But then he mentions that his wife Daisy, and I'm just like, I hate you.
You got it. How did you? Yeah.
I freaking hate
How did
you.
you? How did that's at all? Oh my gosh! Yeah.
A couple of wimpy number one top 10 hits, and you're married to Daisy Fuentes?
Really?
Dude, yeah.
She didn't even.
No.
Did she even interview you a lot on MTV? I mean, come on. What's
But
going on?
In fairness to Richard, he was actually very.
He
very
was.
cool.
That's that was. Another one I met was Jerry Hall. Jerry Hall was very beautiful.
Was she
too.
cool?
Yes. Yeah, she was actually really cool.
I love it.
I mean, she was really cool.
I don't know how we got off on this subject, but I love it. It's fun to talk about. You know, it's what happens when you're sitting around with people you enjoy and you're drinking rum.
Yeah.
This is how it works.
I blame the rum.
And this rum is, honestly, guys,
It's pretty outrageous.
really spectacularly good. So I got to tell you.
Zacapa, Edicion, Negra.
Yeah. Terry, I forget where we are. Is this, this is segment 2? Okay.
Segment 2. So it's, we
that
spent
means-
the time talking about models.
Yeah, and Daisy Fuentes, I just want to say again,
Wow.
she still looks amazing. Look her up on the internet. All right, we have to take a break, and as if this foolishness was not enough, drinking news is next. We'll be right back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting, and this program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars.
This program is delicious.
It's been pretty delicious so far, and we sure are enjoying this this rum, this Ron Zacapa Edicion Negra. It's wonderful, and we'll continue to enjoy it, I have a feeling. We have drinking news coming up. But first, Ian, we always do our biggest beer.
Yes.
In this segment, and by big I mean usually it's the highest ABV. It's usually the one.
Boldest,
Often,
darkest.
as Terry mentioned during the break, a lot of times it's a bottle that costs like $50 or something, and that has happened. But today I wanted to present our final beer to you, Ian, so you can pour it for us. But I wanted to preface it by saying that I feel like this is going to be a real sort of mixed emotions for you, because our final beer is, I think, your favorite style. It's a barley wine.
I love barley wines.
And it's from Hoppin Frog, who we've had great beers from
Yes.
on this program before. But now I'm going to present the beer to you, and you'll understand your conflicting emotions, because it's a tiny can.
What in the heck is that?
That's not a tiny can. Look how giant my hand is.
Yeah, it is called Bite of the Beast. It's
That
from Hoppin
looks-
Frog.
I feel like
Okay.
Andre the Giant.
Seriously, that looks like one of those 7-ounce cans of Coke. When you go and you know how they have the 12-ounce cans, and then they have the little cans that you have to drink like 3 of.
What it reminds me of, remember when you would go and you would buy like,
So
a,
like
little
a little
apple
fruit
juice,
juice, yeah.
and you would pull the top off, and it was like tiny like that?
You and me went to the same place
So,
on
yep.
that.
So this is from Hoppin Frog, and the concept behind these tiny cans is that sometimes in order
8.45 fluid ounces.
sometimes in order to buy a barley wine, you're having to buy a big,
Yes.
a
Bomber,
big thing,
yeah.
and it's going to be expensive.
Yes.
So the idea is, with something of this ABV, you may not need all that much. So this is a one serving. But of course, we're going to split it between us, and we'll see how well
I'm a
Ian
little
divides up
confused,
the.
though, because it's barley wine with Thai chili peppers added.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to go. This is a real mystery. And so the good news is if we don't wind up liking it, we have rum left.
It's a mystery wrapped in an enigma, which is the can being so tiny.
Right.
So that's...
All right. So while Ian, so he's done the opening, but now I'm going to ask you to pick up the ukulele because, my friend, it's time.
Let me wipe the barley wine off my hands because that one spritzed quite a bit.
Said no one ever before. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for drinking news.
Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a bet. When asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all.
Kind of miss that guy, actually.
Yeah, call back to Keegan, who
Yeah.
no longer works here, but he was so much fun to work with when he did. And
That guy's awesome.
And we miss him. Well, my friends, before we get to our main story on today's drinking news, we must all pause for a moment and reflect on the end of an era.
The end of an ear?
End of an era. Most defining era-ending events are global in scale, like the victorious end of World War I, which reshaped the geopolitical map and ushered in the Roaring '20s, or the monumental moment when then-President Reagan uttered the famous words, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall," and the resulting end of the Cold War culminated in the lifting of the Iron Curtain. Our current story is perhaps a smaller one, but no less significant. And it's all because of a recent announcement by a 92-year-old Texas man,
Texas man.
one William Hugh Nelson.
Yes.
Yes, the red-headed stranger himself, Willie Nelson, who just told reporters, and brace yourself for this, that he no longer smokes weed.
What?
The country music legend and hero of fans of the green everywhere says, "I can't smoke anymore. My lungs have already said don't do that. So I don't really do anything now much except a few edibles." Well, thank God at least for edibles. I mean, this is a man who has become a worldwide legend
Yes.
for his love of the bud.
I thought maybe he just stood around Snoop Dogg all day or
well,
something.
yeah, I was going to say almost as big, possibly even bigger than Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg has a story about Willie Nelson smoking him out.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
right.
the thing, is that when Snoop Dogg has the story about it, Willie Nelson is the man.
And at least Willie can still
And what's-
enjoy a bad-tasting gummy now and then.
What's the comedian Fluffy?
Gabriel Iglesias.
Gabriel
Iglesias
yeah.
has a great skit about Snoop Dogg smoking him out. So it's kind of like this level of being smoked out, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Snoop Dogg.
I would say-
Snoop Dogg. So you got like Cypress Hill. Like I did an interview with them once, and you could just smell that they smelled a fresh farm cut weed. And then you got Snoop Dogg, and then of course you got Willie Nelson. So
Yeah. Well, Snoop may be the king, but Willie has been known for this for so long.
Yeah.
And thank God at least for edibles. I mean, this is a man who's become a worldwide legend for his love of the bud. Almost as big, probably even bigger than Snoop Dogg. At least he can still enjoy a bad-tasting gummy here or there, right? And we may all remember that Snoop himself announced he was giving up smoke in 2023. But that turned out to be a marketing ploy to promote his new solo stove, a smokeless fire pit.
Yes.
So that was really just a head fake.
I remember that.
But this one with Willie seems to be real.
I didn't buy it, by the way. I knew that was fake.
Yeah.
I knew that.
But this one with Willie seems to be real.
Yeah, I
and
think
most
so.
definitely marks a turning point in our history of society and culture. Fortunately for weed fans, my former college roommate, Rusty, has also announced that he intends to pick up whatever slack is caused by Willie stepping away from the green. So the marijuana industry is in no danger of a setback. Now, I'm doing my part to support the effort by shipping Rusty, who now lives in a trailer park in Jersey, a large care package of Cheetos and beef jerky, because I'm pretty sure he's going
The
to need
industry
them.
reports a 25% downturn once Willie Nelson decided to quit smoking weed.
But our main story on Drinking News today redirects our attention to the southeasternmost region of the United States and an establishment that has proliferated there, the strip club. It seems that 21-year-old Sultan Al-Nofay, a Florida man,
Florida man.
was arrested after calling 911 from the Oz Gentlemen's Club in Clearwater.
The Oz Gentlemen's Club.
Now, let me just say...
Hey, at least you won't get treated wicked. Hey.
But I'm ching. Well, I was going to say, anytime you're going to a gentleman's club that is named after one of the more famous HBO series maximum security prisons, I don't know if that's the place where you're expecting this. But
It's better than calling it the Whiz.
But that's just me. According to police reports, Mr. Al-Nafay wanted the cops to step in and help him because he had gotten a private room and paid a dancer at the club $300 to have sex with him, and she didn't follow through.
Oh.
Which is not unlike claiming that you paid your drug dealer for meth, but he didn't actually give you any. Again, not your best reason to call 911.
Yeah.
But the old champagne room bait and switch just wasn't working for the Florida man. So he called the cops to take immediate action, which they did, arresting him for, we assume, solicitation and public drunkenness.
Florida man.
He is currently out on a $500 bond, which brings his total expenditure now to at least $800. And he's still not had anyone help him with his
Well, I don't know.
erectile condition.
Maybe he did. I mean, he spent a night or two in the pit. Maybe he did.
Maybe he did. Or maybe they helped him in a different way.
I mean, he may not have had a choice in the matter, but
Yeah.
maybe they helped him.
So let this be a lesson for you, gentlemen of Florida.
Florida County's not a fantasy place.
Yep. Let this be a lesson to you, gentlemen of Florida, for the next time that you're waiting alone in the private room for which you've just paid hundreds of dollars, and you're drinking really cheap champagne and waiting for the woman of your dreams to waltz in the door, it's not likely to happen. And getting your money back by calling 911 is not even a remotely good idea, because 911 operators and the police who are dispatched to the scene take their jobs pretty seriously. I mean, anyone who's ever worked as a 911 operator will tell you that above and beyond the real situations, people call the emergency response line for a lot of ridiculous reasons. And because we like to be thorough when we bring these stories to you, our crack staff here at Drinking News thought that we should give you some examples of these so that you'll know not to call 911 should you ever find yourself in a similar situation. And as we're wont to do, we've assembled them for you in another convenient but certainly unnecessary Drinking News Top 5 list, which, despite an executive presidential order signed with the auto pen banning me from sharing these with you, I'm going to go ahead and do so anyway. Maybe you can come and visit me in Gitmo. This would be the top 5 real 911 calls that were not 911 worthy. And actually, there are only 4. I made the 5th one up. See if you can guess which one it is. Top 5 crazy 911 calls that were actually real. Here we go, number 5. A man who told dispatchers, "My butt sucked up my vibrator and I can't poop it out."
That's real.
And I quote.
I thought I would get more laughter from you guys on that one.
No, I don't see the video.
That is amazing.
Number 4, a drunk man who said there was a large injured bear in his front yard. And it turned out it was a landscaping boulder that had been there for years.
Or just some dude he brought home from the club.
Number 3, the call from Diddy's house because someone accidentally drank a whole bottle of baby oil. Number 2.
Only leaving him with 3,200 left.
Number 2, a caller who said, I need someone to help me take my lasagna out of the oven. I have no mitts.
Oh, please make that one be real. I want that to be real so much. It has to be real.
The number 1 actual, real, crazy 911 call. Number 1, a woman who had to be rushed to the hospital because she accidentally swallowed her false teeth while eating fried chicken and didn't notice until she got another piece of chicken and tried to bite into it with her gums.
Oh, this one is true. This one has to be true because it's so beautiful.
Wow.
And I hope it was good fried chicken.
How does she not notice you swallowed your whole teeth?
Well, much like eating with your hands, you're not supposed to eat the hands.
I feel like she's just, I mean, maybe she
You
was
just eat
eating,
with them.
She's eating the whole bone, too.
What do you mean? There were bones in that?
In the chicken?
There were bones?
By the way, the one that I made
there
up
were bones?
was number 3, the call from Diddy's house because someone accidentally
Yeah.
drank a whole bottle of baby oil. But hey,
Yeah.
it could happen. Which means, Terry, that your lasagna with no mitts, with no oven
So
mitts,
true.
is absolutely
That's
true.
amazing. That's just
That's
amazing.
pretty
I
fantastic.
love
Thought you would
that.
like to know.
I will remember that the next time I have no
Well,
mitts.
see, 911 is so in the subconscious now.
Yeah.
That what do you do? Oh no, I have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reporting live from Clearwater, where some guy just paid a dancer $300 for some afternoon delight. And she brought him a gin and tonic and a Starland Vocal Band CD. My name is Cruz, and that, my friends, is your...
Drinking news, drinking news. That's our time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. I'm wondering, by the way, how much of our audience is young enough that the Starland Vocal Band reference just went right over their
Okay,
heads?
so here's the thing: is the Starland Vocal Band might have gone over their head.
I mean,
but
Afternoon Delight, come on.
if you tell them it's that song they sang in Anchorman all together,
Okay,
then it immediately
yes,
it
thank
immediately
you.
brings it.
Thank you, Terry, for bringing it
sing
right
Will
back.
Ferrell and them
Yeah.
singing it a cappella. It's so beautiful when they do it. Yeah, Afternoon Delight. Yeah, that's perfect.
Ian has poured us some Afternoon Delight here in the form of a Bite of the Beast barley wine from Hoppin Frog, which I can't believe there's actually still some in the can. So this is a barley wine that includes Thai chili peppers. So I'm wondering what our resident barley wine lover, Ian Barry, has to say about this barley wine.
So here's what happens. You take a big old sip of this, right? And it tastes really good because it's like a barley wine. And it's sticky and it's sweet and it's got
Syrupy.
like date/raisiny
I see
kind
where you're
of
going.
front on it. And then it has this, you know, it's kind of like, have you seen, let me think. The back end of this is ruined.
It attacks your
agree.
after the end of it. It attacks your tongue with the Thai chili peppers. That's right.
I have it almost attacks your throat.
This to
It's
me,
further back than your tongue. Yeah.
what was that movie, American Pie?
Yeah.
You know the scene where he does the thing to the
The thing with the pie?
pie? That's like what somebody did to this.
Oh.
It started off as such a good thing.
We'll be back to talk more about this American Pie barley wine when we return at Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back, my friends. It is Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. So we're tasting a very interesting barley wine from Hoppin Frog. It's called Bite of the Beast. And if you can see this can, like, the frog looks completely possessed. So apparently it's the anti-frog Christ beast.
Make that make sense.
Yeah, please, someone help me. I think Ian nailed this. this starts out as a really delicious and wonderful barley wine, and then the finish comes back and attacks you with these Thai chilies, and it really does kind of ruin it the way the guy in the American Pie movie ruined the pie. So I just want to say, though, I love Thai chilies. I do. Like in food, they're just absolutely wonderful. I mean, depending on how they're used, but there is a restaurant in Las Vegas, a Thai restaurant in Las Vegas, and the name is escaping me, but it's not on the Strip. It's down in like Old Town Vegas.
Like downtown area.
They have some of the hottest food that I've ever tasted. Like just incinerates your mouth, and it's so good because they're using these Thai
But
chilies.
you keep eating.
You
'cause it's
keep
so good,
eating
yeah.
and drinking, trying to stay with the program. But I don't like what it does to the barley wine. Now, I will say this. There are people who like pepper in their beer, who enjoy that type of thing. And if you are one of them, you should absolutely try the Bite of the Beast
I would
barley
agree
wine.
because it's high quality.
Yeah.
And the barley wine right up front tastes so good. Mm-hmm. But see, I'm also that same thing. I love spicy food. I don't want spice in my drink like that.
Right.
I don't want my
spicy
drink to
food,
leave
and
my
I want
throat burning.
to wash it down with a good, easy drinking
yeah.
liquid.
But
It's
those
supposed
of
to
you
cool
who
your
like
tongue.
a spicy drink like that may find this delightful. By the way, it's coming in at 16.66.
Wow, really?
Wow.
moly. Yeah.
166.
I just find myself wanting to.
alcohol by volume.
I just find myself wanting to taste what this would have been like without
I
the
wish.
chilies.
Yeah, I wish we had a.
Yeah.
I wish we had a control with that, right?
Yeah.
You know, going back to the very first beer we had on the show today from Three's Brewing Company, the False Memory Pacific Northwest Lager, that is exactly the kind of drink I like to have to wash down a spicy Thai chili food
That thing
meal.
was
Good
amazing.
example.
Yeah,
Very
that
good.
would just
Amazing.
It would just match with it just wonderfully.
Yeah.
But I don't. And it's just me. But you agree with me on this. I think that we just don't want that in our beer.
Yeah.
Well, that's because if you're eating a spicy meal, you're trying to cool it down, not make it worse.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not like drink something to make it worse. Like I wouldn't want to eat that at the same time as a spicy meal. Yeah.
I just, it hits the palate different though when it's in a liquid versus in a food.
100%.
And even if it's salsa, which is somewhere between, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just hits the palate differently. And I love spicy food, but the spicy drink, never been a real big fan of any kind of spicy pepper infused liquor or beer or any of those things.
Well, it's why I knew this would be an interesting challenge for you. And what should tell you everything you need to know about our assessment is this small can of barley wine.
Yeah.
We've still got about that much left in the can.
I know, and I'm twisted about it. It kind of. It's very strange for me.
Well, I just want to point out that I admire Hoppin Frog for taking the chance and doing this.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
appreciate their inventiveness. It
You-
just
you need
isn't,
people
it
to
just
push
isn't
it.
quite for me. Yeah.
You need people to push it. You need people to try flavors that you wouldn't normally put together because you never know.
Right.
And I love that companies do this. So I'm certainly not going to downplay it. It is a high quality barley wine. It's a high quality product. It's not my palate, but if you love spicy foods or spicy drinks, try it.
You know what is my palate? This rum.
Zacapa.
Edicion Negra rum. This is some good stuff.
That bottle used to have more stuff in it.
We've done some serious damage to it, and I know that even though we have like 2 minutes left in the show, it's gonna more damage is going to be done. See, you can see the big hands reaching for it there. Yeah. Big hands, I know you're the one. This is this is really, and I do want to go back to this because it is. I would put this rum in the upper 5% of rums that we've tried on the show.
Yeah, it's really good.
And we've had some of the amazing stuff that Docs has brought on from Plantation and Plantaray. We've had even going back to who were the guys that came in with the volcano?
that was Florida Cognac.
Yeah, Florida Cognac. When they brought some of that 30-year Florida Cognac in, that was amazing. Are you kidding me? But honestly, this will stand up and do battle with them.
Yeah.
At a much lower price. And that's why at
really
$55. By the way, you can find this for $75.
Sure.
But if you look carefully enough, you can also find it for, mid 50s, maybe 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's totally worth every
Yeah.
penny.
Yeah.
This is a bottle you will be
It's
very
good.
happy
It is
to have.
so
in
it is
your-
so
in your
delicious.
bar. I absolutely love it. We got an interesting show coming up for you next week because we're going to be returning to our home away from studio, and that is Vinyl Draft in
Yes, Vinyl Draft's
Kemah.
such a great place.
We love being there so much, and so it's one of the reasons we return so frequently. But one of the specific reasons we're returning for next week's show is that Tony Barrios is going to join us from Stallone Cigars.
What a great guy.
He's not only is he a great guy, but I loved this about him. He left us a pack of, like a 5-pack, I think it
Yes,
was,
yeah.
of his cigars. And every single one of them was outstanding.
Yeah.
Usually if somebody leaves me a 5-pack variety pack, I'm going to probably really like 2 or 3 of them. And the others I'm going to think are probably just okay.
Yeah.
I loved every
I
one.
have probably, since the last time we saw him, I probably bought the equivalent of a box of the broadleaf Maduro. I've probably bought half a
broadleaf.
box. Me and Alan split half a box of the barber's pole that he did for Vinyl Draft
Right, which
specifically.
that was a great cigar.
Such a good cigar. Yeah, I think I gave you a couple of those
You
too.
did, and it was wonderful. Yeah.
And then all the other ones that he has in his line, I've just been buying whenever I see him. I absolutely love the cigars.
Just love talking cigars with this guy, and we're going to be excited to do so next week. And of course, our good friend Doug from Vinyl Draft will be
Doug's
there.
always
He's
fun. You know
always
who else is
fun to be
gonna?
with.
You know who else has got to show up, right?
Yeah.
You know Alan's gonna be there.
Oh
right?
yeah,
That's his-
he usually won't miss an occasion like that. So our good friend Alan Denny, who nobody cares about, will probably be joining us next week as well. So listen, thank you for listening to the show this week. Thank you for joining us every week. This has been number 438 of a pretty incredible journey for us, and we appreciate you for coming along with us and joining us. Thank you to Adam in the Sky, who puts the show together in post, and thank you, Ian, for being here.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, y'all.
You're such a sweet